The reboot that nobody wanted. Yes, of course, I'm talking about HBO's upcoming Harry Potter. I'm sure you're all aware of this by now, whether you want to be or not. Today I have a bunch of filming and some casting news that has recently come out. Even today there's been some news that I'm gonna try to cover here. But I also, after I get through all the news, I just want to give you my thoughts and opinions and open this video up for discussion in the comments for this. Because personally, I'm just not really that hyped for this reboot. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but at the end of the day, I might just have to realize this isn't really for me. It's for the next generation to be introduced to Harry Potter. And that's okay. That's all right. But also, this is 100% unnecessary. But anyway, enough with the negativity for now. There is a lot of talented people involved in this reboot, and I'm definitely going to be giving it a chance. So let's get into the news. Filming officially began on July 14th, which happens to be my birthday, and to mark the occasion, HBO dropped the very first look at Dominic McLaughlin as the boy who lived. And honestly, it looks pretty good. The lightning scar doesn't look like it's been drawn on with eyeliner, which is a promising start. It looks like a real scar. He looks book accurate. He has his mother's green eyes. He's so young. I'm sure he's gonna grow into the role and do a great job. I just really hope that the internet will be kind to him. And alongside Harry, we got our first look at Hagrid, played by Nick Frost, who you might know from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And let's address the half-giant in the room here. I don't know how I feel about this Hagrid. Is it just me? Because he kind of seems like Timu Hagrid.
Bruh.
Like, he doesn't seem as rugged and gruff as Hagrid should be. He also seems too clean. He seems kind of too young as well. I don't mean to be too harsh. It just kind of looks like a cosplay. And I know that any actor stepping into the role that is so heavily associated with Robbie Coltrane, who perfectly captured that character, it's gonna feel strange no matter what actor is doing it. Hagrid is kind of our warm, bumbling, big-hearted entry point into the wizarding world, so his character is very important. And there's a lot of emotional scenes where Hagrid is extremely important to the series. And, you know, Nick Frost is a solid comedic actor. He's got a great dramatic range. I think he definitely deserves a shot. Just something about this first shot, it doesn't quite capture the weathered, haggard appearance of Hagrid. Maybe it's gonna look better in the finished product. Who knows? Now, just 11 hours ago, we got a bunch of news that I wasn't aware of until just filming this video, so I'm gonna try to cover it here. But they started filming the reptile scene at the London Zoo. And we got our first shots of Harry, as well as the Dursleys, and I think this looks like Harry. I love the messy hair. I love the 90s outfits. I like that they're going for the correct time frame. And from the sounds of it, it seems like all of these images were leaked, so they weren't necessarily meant to get out there. But I have to say that the casting for Dudley, played by Amos Kitson, I think it's perfect. I can totally see this kid as Dudley. I think they did a really great job picking him. Again, I really love the 90s outfits here. My man has got the Dudley mannerisms and facial expressions down. And we even get Piers Polkiss, which is great to see. They're trying to keep it really book accurate. It says the scene from the Harry Potter series filmed at the zoo yesterday involves the Dursleys, Harry, Dudley, and his friend watching an attraction in a penguin area. And the Dursleys look fantastic as well. I think they did such a great job with the casting here. Petunia's blonde. Finally, they picked a book accurate Petunia. I mean, not exactly book accurate. You know, in the books, she's supposed to have a really tall neck, but that's kind of hard to cast for those small details. Overall, I think Vernon and Petunia look great. Again, totally 90s. I'm loving their clothing choices here. And they really had to transform the actress into Petunia. I'm not sure the name of the actress. I'll put it on the screen. It's actually looking pretty good, so I'm trying to stay open-minded about this. Now, it was also mentioned, according to information, the Harry Potter series will film scenes at the Hemel Hempstead School between July 23rd and 25th. This is the school Harry attended before explore Hogwarts. He even climbed onto the roof once to escape Dudley and his gang. I think that is so cool that they're actually including those scenes from the books at the Muggle School. I'm really glad that they're trying to keep this more book accurate, and I hope that we'll even get a scene with Vernon going to work for the day like we did in the book. And it looks like earlier today, or yesterday for you guys, we have the actress who's going to play Hedwig. And yeah, that's one beautiful owl. Now, the cast has slowly been coming together over the past few months. In addition to Dominic, we have Hermione Granger, played by Arabella Stanton.
You're looking for the post office, aren't you?
How did you know that?
You've circled the block a few times, so you're obviously lost. If I'm investigating a missing person, I start at the post office to see if they registered an emailing address. Except our post office collapsed about a month ago, and they haven't updated the online coordinates. I could show you if you ask nicely.
And I'm pretty confident she's gonna do a fantastic job as Hermione. I hope they stick with like the messy hair that Hermione is meant to have. I would like to see them kind of stick with Emma Watson's hair from the first movie. I think it's like around the third movie where they kind of make her hair more straight and beautiful. Or maybe it was even the second movie, and it kind of takes away from the big reveal at the ball for Hermione. So if they want to keep it book accurate, I'm sure they're gonna try to stick to the frizzy hair. And Alistair Stout is our new Ron Weasley. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with the casting for the main trio. I knew they went over like 30,000 auditions to choose these three, and I feel like they picked good. Now, HBO has also recently confirmed that they're going to shoot seasons 1 and 2 back to back, and I think that explains some of their recent casting reveals for characters like Lucius and Cornelius Fudge and Madame Hooch. Also, Game of Thrones star Will Portree has been cast as Ollivander, which I think is perfect. Rory Wilmot has been cast as Neville Longbottom, and Louise Brealey as Madame Hooch. Look, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really been hyped or excited for this reboot at all. Unfortunately, I do feel a little bit of excitement today after seeing some of these images here. I don't know, like, I grew up with these books. I have read them so many times. These books still hold a special place in my heart. I played a lot of the old Harry Potter games.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I played Hogwarts Legacy, but this reboot of Harry Potter, it just feels premature. It's only been 14 years since Deathly Hallows Part 2 hit the theaters. And now that I say that, that seems longer than it should be, but that's still not long enough for me to feel nostalgic enough to actually want a reboot. In my opinion, the films are still some of the best book-to-movie adaptations we've ever had. Did they cut some important stuff and some fan-favorite scenes? Absolutely. But they nailed the tone and the magic of the series. The set design, the costumes, the overall aesthetic, and the casting, the musical score, it all worked incredibly well. It's still one of my favorite film franchises, even if it wasn't perfect, even if it wasn't 100% book accurate, it still did one of the best jobs at capturing the essence of a beloved series. And yeah, it's just, I feel like it's way too soon for a remake. We're not even getting anything new. It's the same story that they're trying to tell, and I don't understand that. Based on what HBO said, this is going to be a faithful adaptation. They've already kind of broken that rule with some of the casting, but I mean, I'm hoping they are going to keep it as book accurate as possible. But also, was anybody really begging for that? I mean, maybe some of you were, I don't know, but I feel like, yeah, having a TV series, it's gonna allow them to go deeper. We can finally get Peeves, the Death Day party, Dumbledore's actual conversations with Harry, and the full backstory with the Gaunt family. Maybe even Spew, if we're feeling brave. I do think there's value in doing a long-form adaptation, especially if they're not going to skip over things. If we can get the full Tom Riddle backstory without it feeling like a side quest. But even then, I can't help but feel like I wish they went in a different direction. I wish they gave us the Marauders TV show, or just some other story in the Wizarding world. The first Wizarding War, or maybe like a dark Voldemort origin story that kind of plays like a magical Breaking Bad. I would be down for something like that, something more unique, something we haven't seen yet. Instead, we're starting back at Privet Drive. If they were so dead set on making a reboot, why would they still do live action? I feel like Harry Potter is begging for a animated series. I feel like it would work so well as, whether it's like 3D animation or 2D animation, it would do fantastic in animated format. Personally, I would love to see like an anime-styled Harry Potter. I think that people would be much more excited for an animated Harry Potter series than just another live-action attempt. And the thing is too, like, when you reboot Spider-Man, there's precedent. Like, superheroes are often recast. But Harry Potter, there's only been one Harry Potter, and those actors and actresses, they're so tied to their roles in Harry Potter. It's extremely difficult to picture anybody else as those characters. Even when I'm reading the books now, I can't really picture anybody else. By the way, I would love to hear your thoughts on an animated Harry Potter. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see. Would you like a Studio Ghibli styled Harry Potter, or maybe a new fresh anime style with a lot of detail, or maybe you want like a 3D Pixar animated Harry Potter? That would be kind of weird, but maybe that's what you want. Let me know in the comments. All of that being said, am I going to watch it? Probably. I want to see if Dumbledore asks calmly this time. I'm gonna give the series a chance. And, you know, some of the casting, it doesn't seem that bad. John Lithgow as Dumbledore, he plays so many of my like beloved roles in movies. I can see him doing a good job as Dumbledore. He does have a really great range, but he's definitely more of like a comedic actor, I feel like. So I'm a little worried they're gonna go into the more like eccentric grandfather rather than like wizarding legend. And I feel like they need to find a balance of those, like somewhere in between would be perfect for Dumbledore. And then of course, we need to address Papa Asiadu. I just don't understand that casting. I truly do not. Nothing against the actor. Everything I've seen of him, he seems like a really great actor. He's just not right for Snape. I would be just as confused if they casted some blonde-haired pretty boy as Snape. Because that's simply not Snape. Nothing about that is Snape. He's often described in the books as being pale and sickly, and he has like a long hook nose. And, you know, James Potter bullying Snape back in the 1970s, now it's gonna seem like it's all about race. And that's gonna make James look way worse. Even Harry being extremely suspicious of Snape the entire series. I feel like now it's just gonna seem like it's about his race. So I just really don't think that was the best choice for casting, and I'm not against race swapping, especially if it makes sense for the characters. I just feel like it really doesn't make sense in this case. Alan Rickman embodies Snape so perfectly. It's so hard to see anyone else take his place, so nobody really fits his shoes. So I understand why they wanted to go with something completely different, someone who doesn't even resemble Alan Rickman. I just think they could have still gone book accurate with Snape because he's a very important character in the series. They could have gone with someone maybe younger than Rickman. I would have loved to see Adam Driver be the new Snape, but obviously I don't think he would accept a multi-year production at this point in his career. But if accuracy doesn't matter, why is Harry British? Why doesn't it take place in a different country? All that being said though, like Snape's character, none of it has to do with being black or white, so it doesn't really matter. It's just hard to kind of picture someone else as Snape after we've already had an adaptation with a very book accurate Snape. But as long as he's able to capture Snape in his performance, that's really all that matters. I still think it's just an odd choice, but I don't think it's worth boycotting the show over. I think that's pretty extreme. Now, as of right now, they're keeping the casting for Voldemort a secret, but if they truly have already casted Voldemort, I kind of have hope that maybe they're gonna open the show with a scene of Godric's Hollow. Just imagine if the HBO logo appears, it fades away and it says October 31st, 1981, and you know what's going to happen. just complete chills. I think that's the perfect way to open the show. I still wouldn't want to see like the full Voldemort reveal. Maybe they can just show like red eyes underneath of the hood. I think they should try to keep the big reveal until Goblet of Fire if they can. But I feel like doing this would be really smart because then they could use any audio from Lily and James later on in season 3, and it would kind of be a callback to season 1 whenever Harry encounters the Dementors, and I just think that would be a really easy callback to do. Plus, it makes Voldemort's resurrection even more powerful because we see how far he fell. Oh man, okay, I just imagine the whole scene of like, you know, the logo, then it says the date, and then you see like kids trick-or-treating. Maybe Voldemort's walking by in a hooded cloak and a child sees underneath of his cloak and like freaks out or something. And then he arrives at the Potter house. Okay, if that's the opening, I hope someone will come back to this video and say that I was right. Oh, also, I feel like we're gonna see Voldemort enough if we can recognize his face on the back of Professor Quirrell? Now, another concern floating around the internet, and a concern that I have as well, is the music. Specifically, will we still get Hedwig's theme? Because that tune in particular is Harry Potter. You hear those first few notes and you know it's Harry Potter. It's so tied to the series, and not even just the movies at this point. Warner Brothers has so much invested in the world of Harry Potter, not just in the films, but in the theme parks and the merchandise. It goes so far beyond just the movies. I don't know how it's possible to not include some of the music in the new remake. There are some rumors that John Williams is going to be involved again, which I think would be a genius move. At the same time, I do understand that they're going to want the show to kind of stand out on its own and be separate from the films. So I have a feeling that the music is going to be different, unfortunately. But if they can get John Williams involved, I'd still love to see what he could do, and hopefully he can make it kind of reminiscent of the films. And I truly hope that HBO puts the same amount of care into their score as they have done with some recent fantasy adaptations, like His Dark Materials. That had an excellent soundtrack, House of the Dragon as well. But this isn't like any fantasy show. There's a lot to live up to here, so if the music isn't iconic, it's gonna be very noticeable. Same goes for the set designs and the special effects and Quidditch, the magical creatures, all of that stuff. We're now living in a post-Game of Thrones world, so I think the bar is pretty high and fans are watching closely. As far as the costumes, so far it seems like they're sticking very closely to the movies, which is also kind of weird because like there was no need to make a remake, and so if they are gonna make a remake, they should try to make it more unique. They could have gone for a more stylized look or something. I don't know. I guess the costumes and everything is also heavily tied to the theme parks and the merchandise and all of that. So overall, while I am trying to keep an open mind, I still am not really like hyped for this show quite yet. Maybe I'll get more hyped when I see more leaks happen, but not everybody is gonna share my opinion. You can let me know what camp you fall into. Am I gonna watch it? Yeah, probably. Am I still going to unfairly compare this new cast to the old cast? Almost definitely, but I am gonna try to keep an open mind. Despite my hesitation, I still love this world. I would love to see the Triwizard Tournament done in its full glory. I want to see the full story of the Gaunts, and of course Peeves. We gotta have Peeves. Maybe we'll have a version of Ginny that has more personality like she does in the books. I don't think this show is going to replace the movies in our hearts, but maybe it doesn't need to. Maybe it's just not for us. Maybe it's for the next generation of fans, for the kids that are just about to meet Harry, Ron, and Hermione for the first time ever, and be introduced to this incredible magical story, and that's okay. If the show is able to get things right and even recapture a little bit of that magic, it could end up surprising a lot of us. I guess I'm being a bit of a fence rider because I'm not that hopeful for it, but like I'm trying to be. Let me know all of your thoughts on all this news, as well as just your thoughts and hopes for this HBO remake for Harry Potter. Let me know all of it down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was kind of just a on-the-fly video. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys soon. Huge thank you to all of my patrons.